Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of non-typical music, listening to music that's just different, stuff you don't typically hear. We have some current 93 today. I'm not familiar with this artist. The track is called Ach Golgotha with the subtitle Maldoror Is Dead. Let's dive into this. 19 minutes of music ahead of us. See what current 93 is bringing to the table today. Oh, the album came out in '84. There's something about the chanting right there that sounded a bit older. I still think older than '84 though, based on the production of it. So I wonder if that was, yeah, the production on the instrumentation is clearer. So I wonder if that was a sample. There's a lot of white noise on these sounds. They're very textured, very gritty, even the vocals. And if anyone knows, what are the instruments? If they're, real instruments off on the sides here. Interesting use of both the panning and reverb on those really low piano hits. that an oboe? Maybe clarinet, but also maybe synth. Oh, dude, the sharp cutouts. Had to check. Much like yesterday's track, Boredoms. The group was Boredoms. This is a song that really isn't going anywhere. It seems to really be about being in the moment and presenting a journey more so than a destination. Also, I picked up a few sentences from the vocals, and all I hear is Maldoror Is Dead. Is it just a repetition of that, almost like a chant? I don't think I've heard anything else. Okay, it's funny as I say that. I didn't pick up on that though. Just syllables, no words. I think it's more jarring to have done one idea for 10 minutes and then introduce these new sounds than if they had done these wild sounds from the start. Did not like that. Dude, these tones are piercing. I dropped my volume pretty low, and they're still too loud. Well, that one's kind of interesting, like an insect. Why does this feel like a demonic reprogramming? Like I've been captured by some occultist group, and this is what I have to listen to in order to accept the brainwashing of the cult. I don't know, dude, this is wild. I know I've been awfully silent on this reaction, but I don't really have words for this. So there's formant shifting on this one, right? Or do you think that's enough? Because everything over here is the delay from the now missing center. But the left side's also based off of that center stem, right? Those random stops and starts in the middle of lines, just very playful cutting in the processing element. Without the chanting, this is just kind of eerie. I mean, it was already a little unsettling to begin with, but without it, it's just ambience, devoid of really anything musical. It's just sonic. Yeah, dude, it's wild that there's still sound going on according to the volume. I heard nothing. I'm curious what frequencies that was in. I mean, even the frequency spectral thing on the right side wasn't picking up anything. So, hmm. Yeah, I think this is going to be a short analysis. I don't know what I can say about this that's going to be any different from what you probably picked up on your own here. There's not going to be a lot of theory analysis here. I don't know how much of what I'm about to say is based off of my having made music or studied music. I think a lot of it's just going to be a very subjective, listener focused experience description. I mean, just to break this down real quick into what I heard in more subjective terms, we have some vocals, and by some, I mean there's usually one that is duplicated, replicated, echoed, reverbed, pitch shifted, formant shifted, all sorts of ways to manipulate the core vocal, but usually it's just one track that everything else gets based off of. And then there is low sounds. Sometimes they're just warbles. Sometimes we have those really low piano notes that we saw at like minute 5 or 6. There's just lower end, possibly synth drone going on. We had a couple of oboe slash clarinet slash maybe synthesizer notes that came up in a couple of places. None of them really do anything musical. They consistently sit in a lower range of notes and just fill space with something a bit more traditionally musical. There is a pitch, there is a traditional music tone that accompanies that pitch, and there's usually some sort of movement to it, either a rise in volume or a movement from one speaker to the other. But they don't present harmony, they don't present melody, they don't present rhythm, they're not doing anything musical, they're being introduced to be a texture. They could really be any instrument, any sound, and I bring this up because the opposition of this is the non-musical textured sounds, like those frog croaks at the beginning of the song. Again, maybe those are instruments. I've never heard anything like them in instrument form. They might be synths. It might be that this person created these tones, but to me, they just sounded like frogs. So we have the vocals, the textures. Oh, and then the high-pitched stuff at the end, which was kind of neat in like a glitch music perspective. But dude, some of them are very abrasive. They were painful, very sharp and loud. Even turning my volume down by 50-60%, they still were quite overpowering. So that's not a highlight for me, but it is the last piece of the song, and that's pretty much the entirety of it. Chanting, textures. Yep, that's it. Chanting and textures. Wow, this is why we don't break art down into objective facts, because art is more than just the parts that make it up. Because when you say, yeah, the song is just chanting over texture, like, that doesn't sound too great. And to be completely fair, I'm not going to say I enjoyed this, but there is a lot of artistic value in here beyond what can be quantized. But that is pretty much what the song is. But it's about what it does with that. Everything about this feels eerie, off-putting. I mean, the sheer fact that there are sounds in here that I can't place, they feel acoustic, but I've never heard an instrument like that, already creates something that feels otherworldly or foreign. When you pair that with the rather dark tone and the ominous chanting, you create something that feels very wrong. I mentioned at one point it sounded like a cultish chanting, and even likened it to being brainwashed to accept the ideology of this cult in a very occult sense, too, supernatural and dangerous. I still feel that way at the end of the track. That's still an accurate description of my experience with this. And it's not because of chord progression. It's not because of melody. It's not because of wild rhythmic ideas. It's because this entire thing is a sonic landscape. It's because of the tones, the textures that they chose. It's because of the way that they opted to deliver the vocal lines. It's because of the lack of really any percussive or rhythmic component to this song. The delay on the vocals can give us a rhythmic pulse, but it's not consistent. You'll get maybe 3 or 4 hits and then nothing for a while before another 3 or 4 hits come in. It's not really something that you can base a beat around. You might be able to internalize a beat through it. I never checked to see if there was a consistent pulse to all of the delays. But at the end result, this isn't something that is danceable or something that you would bob your head to. The beat is not present a majority of the time. I find it impressive that they can get away with so much with so little, and by removing what I consider to be three key parts to music. Not just any three parts, but like the three parts of music, rhythm, melody, and harmony. This is what all music is based off of. And this has none of that. And yet I would still describe this as music. It is still a song. At the very least, even if you disagree with me, I think you can still view this as sonic art. Now, whether you agree sonic art is music or not, I think that the two terms might as well be the same, but you might have a distinction between the two. But it's still representing art crafted from sound, which is generally what music is too. Beyond that, though, what do I have to say about it? The production is solid, coming from the idea that some of these sounds may be artificial. So we have the production of specific timbres. We have the overall atmosphere and sound sphere of it feeling like we are in a vast area. There's a lot of reverb, the acoustics of this, whether they are real acoustics, they recorded in a place that sounded like this, or artificial acoustics, in which case a producer made it sound like they were in this room. Either way, it sounds great. It sounds vast and large. The echo is tangible. It feels placed. It is not a general echo. It has movement to it. When you shout down a cave, you don't just hear the echo around you. You hear the sound waves bouncing through the cavern. They grow in distance from you. And a lot of the sound on here moves in a direction. We don't ever have a sound start center and echo out to the sides. It starts at center and echoes to the right. It has directionality to it. It's what adds to the believability of this. Despite the fact that I still believe there's quite a bit of digital elements in here, it feels like something that was simply recorded. Someone had a tape recorder, placed it down, and this was the result of the performance they recorded. And I think that is pretty cool. I think it's quite difficult to take something like this and make it sound totally natural. And they do. Every instrument is fairly clear, although honestly there's not a lot of layers here, so clarity isn't a big issue, especially with how spacious this sound sphere is, but it is something that I feel is rather well produced. It is clear, it's clean, there's a lot of grit on these instruments, but it fits in this overall sound sphere. But other than that, what do I say about this? Like I'd mentioned earlier, we checked out Boredoms yesterday with the song Seadrum, and I described it as an experience, a journey. The destination is not important. It isn't there to tell a story or to reach a final point. It is there for you to be in the moment of the entirety of the art. And I feel this is the same way. What this song says from moment to moment doesn't really change. In fact, for the first 10 minutes, it felt like the same thing over and over, just told in different variations of it. It was obviously linearly moving. I didn't really feel any patterns or repeated phrases or licks that I could lean into. It felt like it was totally random, but it honestly all felt very samey as well. Variations on the same idea. Minute 10, we entered into some really weird sounds. We had a little bit of dynamic stuff there with the timbre. But then we got back into it pretty quickly, and then we dropped the vocals and just had the atmosphere for the outro. It's not a song that goes anywhere. The ending isn't revelatory. It doesn't recontextualize the rest of the work. It is simply the point where the song ends. And through that lens, it's not a song that's about getting to the ending. It's not a song about trying to derive meaning or to, be told a story. It's a song to experience a moment, a series of moments for 19 minutes long, to be in this second. Every second that passes, you are in this one. You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the past. You are connecting with the sounds around you. And when the sounds change, you connect with those. And your experience while listening to this is the purpose of the art. I'm going to look up some lyrics to this one, and then we're going to wrap this one up. Well, unless anyone else has another source, I could only find very little on it. I would not mind looking at the lyrics if someone else had a full list. I don't know, pin a comment to the video or something. All I found, though, is unknown chanting. To be fair, though, there are 3 lines. The moon went out, the sun went black, Maldoror is dead. And Maldoror is dead, I did hear chanted over and over and over. I did end up hearing other words or other sentences, but I couldn't make out what they were. I heard the syllables, but they didn't sound like words to me. The moon went out, the sun went black. I don't remember hearing those lines either, but Maldoror is dead was repeated a lot. Not anything like a ritual or a summoning or anything like that. It actually feels like it's a song of sorrow. Maybe the rest of the chanting would have a very different take on that. But I don't get a lot of sorrow out of the music. It's just eerie and odd, alien, different, and uncomfortable most of the time too. The dark sounds generally don't feel inviting, even if I'm not entirely sure what word to describe them. Comfortable is certainly not one of the ones that I would have included if I could think of any words to describe the atmosphere on this. But sorrow is just not what I expected out of it. These are my thoughts. Current 93's Ach Golgotha, Maldoror Is Dead. What'd you think of this? Did anything stand out to you? Is there anything you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Do you have your own perspective on this? Your own thoughts or anything? Let me know. Put that stuff down into the comment section below the video. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. Takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all 3 of those. Alright, that wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.